We have some very absurd, to backtrack a little bit, my husband is very nice and he lets me decorate things however I want, but occasionally he shows up with some interesting additions. And the panda bear cat bed was one of those, so it lives behind the chaise.
You're watching Homeworthy, where we believe every home has a story. Like and subscribe for more.
Hi, I'm Hannah Rutherfoord, and this is Harvey. Welcome to our New York apartment. I'm an architect. I work for Peter Pennoyer Architects here in New York City. I am also a lover of design and have sort of taught myself and been taught how to do interiors as well. So a lot of what you see in the apartment is my way of using this as a sort of canvas to test out things. I live here with my husband, Alex, and 3 cats, Jasper, Tewkesbury, and Winslow, and our dog, Harvey, who's a cute little Corgi. This is our foyer. It's pretty small, as you can see, so it was a little bit of a design challenge at first. I didn't have any furniture in here and it felt like it was huge and kind of empty. So I found this tiny little table and then had this skirt made out of this really fun pattern. And so I keep a lot of cute little tchotchkes here, all of my little animals that greet people when they come in. So this was a wedding gift, actually. It's a silver ice bucket, but I obviously don't use it as an ice bucket. I just thought it was so pretty. I wanted to have it out all the time, so I use it as a vase for these dried flowers. Okay, so from the entry, we're gonna go into the living room. So we can come down here, down a few steps into our large sunken living room, which is where we entertain people and host dinner parties. We actually bought this apartment a year and a half ago during COVID, right in the middle of everything, and we couldn't get to New York. So we actually bought this sight unseen, which is pretty crazy, but I had a few details that I knew I wanted that you can kind of see when you're in here pretty well. A fireplace was like number one. We had to have a working fireplace. We use it all the time. We're coming from Charlottesville, Virginia, and DC before that, and both homes have had fireplaces and we've loved them, so we needed that. The windows were a big deciding factor for us. I, as an architect, love casement windows. I wanted them to be able to swing out and just let the breeze in, and they're also just beautiful, and I love the black detailing, so I knew I wanted those as well. Here, the tram goes by like a million times a day. The Roosevelt Island tram, the cats love it, and it feels like it's out of a Wes Anderson movie. It's super cute. These are great prints that I actually bought for like $5 a piece. They're prints of Scottish castles and ruins and stuff. But the funny thing about these is I wanted to frame them really cheaply, and this was back when I didn't really want to spend a whole lot of money on things. So I actually got all of the component parts to the frames and I hand framed them, and this is like half my collection. I think I have like 50 of them. I have a bunch at another house. My fingers were like raw by the time I was done putting all these together. But I think they have a really nice impact when framed sort of like this. And I have a bunch throughout the apartment. And then this pretty painting kind of grounds it. I don't actually know if the painter is, in fact, William Morris Hunt, who was Richard Morris Hunt's older brother. He was the famous Gilded Age architect, but I liked her anyway because she kind of reminds me of me and my sisters and our love of animals. So over here, you can see one of our sofas. I had 2 of these custom made for the space in this pretty velvet color, green. And I actually thought when I got them that our cats wouldn't scratch them because they didn't really like velvet. Well, I learned that they actually do like to scratch velvet. So unfortunately, there's some holes. Please don't look. But other than that, I, sort of added a lot of other green into the room aside from this kind of avocado-y army green, which you'll see throughout the apartment. I really like and use a lot. So I love all colors of green and try to mix them as much as possible. I also brought in a lot of malachite color as well, just kind of inspired from some little things. So this is an Anton Henning lithograph. This is like one of my favorite things. I love this linen press so much. It's a 19th century English linen press with this beautiful inlay. It's in kind of rough condition and the doors don't close perfectly, but it houses all of my like purses and also my sewing machine. And it's just like, it's very functional, but also really beautiful. And Winslow likes to jump up at the top and like terrify people when I'm on Zoom meetings too, which is kind of funny. Over here, we have our fireplace with the original mantle from 1927. And like I said, we use this fireplace all the time. It's super cozy. And I have these little, they're called shin toaster chairs. So these also are custom and they match the sofas in the same velvety fabric. You pull up a shin toaster to the fireplace to like toast your shins. So they're very low to the ground and they're really hard to find. Over here, I've got a lot of kind of fun little things that I've picked up over the years. This is one of my favorites. It's actually a slide, an old art history slide from I think the 20s or so, and it's made out of glass. But they're just really fun and kind of ethereal. So this is a 18th century French mirror with an egg and dart detail. And I actually got this one off of Cherish, and they, delivered it in this huge box. And I had 3 people from the building come and help me hang this because my husband and I couldn't figure out how to do it. We were like so terrified it was just gonna come crashing down. So we have a very nice handyman to help us. So this gate leg table, I rearrange the furniture in here a lot. And so during the winter months, I have the table in the middle of the room near the fireplace, and you can have dinner parties here, and it's really nice. And I knew I wanted something that had sort of a pretty bottom to it because you'd see it when you come right in the room. So it's a gate leg table. The leaves fold down so that when in the summer I put the sofas in the center and move the table out, the table then sort of acts more as a console table. I also painted this table. It had a black bottom, but it was really in rough shape on the top. And I got a few quotes from people who could restore it, but it wasn't really worth a whole lot to begin with, even though it is old. So I decided to paint it myself in my parents' garage, which was somewhat successful, I think. And I wanted it to go with these chairs too that I had found. These are sort of Klizmos style chairs with this sort of swooping back. And I actually also recovered these myself. I just took the bottom out, and thank you, Winslow, are you gonna show? And then I made these little cushions because I feel like it gives it a little bit of extra elegance. And I put down feathers in these, and so it's very plush. But obviously Winslow likes it too. Okay, I'll leave this there for you. Oh, we have this fun little ram. I have I probably actually have over 1,000 animals in this apartment in terms of just depictions of animals or sculptures or whatever. I've got this guy, I've got like a little leather pig ottoman over here. We have elephants, birds, you name it. We have it in this apartment. I love these curtains so much. My mother-in-law, who's actually an interior decorator, helped me pick the fabric out for these. And she actually helped me with a lot of the selections in the apartment, from fabrics to sourcing furniture and everything. And I really loved these because I wanted a sort of horizontal element to go with such a vertical space. And again, sort of the play on the vertical and horizontal that you see in the Muntins and Mullions in the windows. And so I thought this was a really nice complement. And the fact that it's slightly transparent as well is, I think, very elegant and sort of tailored. So now we're going to go into the library, which we also sometimes call the green room, but I feel like that's a little misleading because we don't do any filming in here, but it is very green. This is where we obviously keep all of our books, and then we have our TV. So it serves both as a really great place in the morning and in the evenings if you want to read a book or have a coffee in here or watch a movie. So we love this cozy little space. All of our books are obviously here. These are kind of funny because I really wanted built-in bookshelves, but I did not want to spend a whole lot on them. So these are actually IKEA and we just painted them to match the walls so they kind of feel like they blend into the background a little bit. This is actually, I think it's a George Smith sofa, a leather sofa that was from my in-laws. And we brought this to every house that we've been in, and Harvey, our dog, he uses it as his bed. So you'll come in here in the middle of the night and he'll be on the sofa. So we knew we had to bring it, even though it was kind of a tight fit and I would have probably rather had something a little smaller in here. We knew we had to bring Harvey's bed or he would be very unhappy. And the pillows, I got all of these done in different greens and blues to go with the sort of whole theme of the room, which was actually based off of this little, these little rose mulled Norwegian boxes. I have some Norwegian heritage on my father's side through my grandmother. And he has this beautiful trunk that I've always loved that is painted just like this. It's green and has sort of red detailing. And so I've, bought a few of these over the years. And this one actually inspired the colors in this room with that sort of chartreuse and then this beautiful green. This is called cat's eye green. Benjamin Moore, love this color. And that actually also inspired me to paint these beams. I hand painted them last summer, pretty soon after we moved in, just like for a fun weekend activity. And they're still sort of in progress. They're not quite perfect yet and haven't got the perfect mix of colors or design yet, but they're also kind of inspired by that Norwegian sort of traditional painting. When we moved in, we noticed that there used to be doors here, but I don't know how anybody ever lived here because the door swing would get in the way of everything. So we ended up actually doing interior curtains that function as doors. So when someone's in here watching a movie or whatever, you can close them. I have multiple skirted tables in the apartment, actually. This one I really love is a pretty blue color, but I like them because they're very crisp and elegant, and they just seem to be a little bit less messy and a little less busy than a typical pedestal or something with legs. This is our teeny tiny powder room, which I did in this really punchy William Morris fabric, which is really cool and has this incredible colorway to it. So I have a matching skirt for the sink and shower curtain, and then also a Roman shade, so you really feel ensconced. This is our master bedroom. In this room, I wanted it to sort of feel like a jungle. So I have this incredible canvas toile on the bed curtains that on the other side has a Carlton Barney stripe. And it feels like just the most luxurious space. I really love it in here. And we have lots of big cat prints sort of bringing you into the room, and then obviously the jungle theme here, and you can see the cats really like it in here too. So over here I have a sort of collection of boat paintings. I like to have sort of calm things in our bedroom that make you feel like you want to go to sleep. So I have a lot of boats, and I love sailing, so a lot of sailboats. Over here actually is where our little air conditioning unit is. We're very lucky to have through the wall units here, but you can still see them in the room. So I found this little table, and this is one of the things I made myself. This is an antique French fabric that I turned into a little cover, so you can pull it aside and turn the AC on. And I love these shears too that I have here over the window. These were custom made. I did not sew these, but I think they suit the room really perfectly and have kind of a dreamy quality to them, which is nice for a bedroom. So I love this chaise. It's not an antique per se. I think it's just sort of a reproduction, probably from the 1920s or so, but I just loved it. And I really do. I wake up in the morning, and I wake up like 2 hours early. I make my coffee in the kitchen, and I bring it in here, and I sit here and I read whatever I'm reading, which happens to be all of these things right here, which I have a lot of books that I'm reading at a time, but I'll just pick one up and read for like half an hour in the morning before I get ready. And this is the perfect spot to do it. This is our master bath, and it's not completely done yet. I haven't replaced the fixtures or really done any of the tile work or anything, but I did want to show you the striped ceiling, which I did like a couple months ago, and I actually hand painted it myself. It took 2 weekends, and it looks kind of funny and it's not perfect, but I thought it was a fun element to have in such a small space. I just did blue tape to get the stripes. It already had the color that I wanted on the back when we moved in. And then one weekend I painted the stripes and peeled off, and then the next weekend I did all the little detailing. This is our kitchen, which is tiny. It's a tiny little galley kitchen, but when we moved in, it was actually all white, and I felt like a darker color was just gonna make this feel both more sumptuous and cozy, and in a way, almost bigger. So I had these, I had all of the cabinets lacquered, had the ceiling painted, and I put up these little tiles because the tile that's under here is really hideous. So I covered it all up, and now it's all sort of dark and feels really cozy in here. We also kept on with the interior curtains in the kitchen as well. This one's kind of fun because it hides where we put our trash. And I love also that I ended up putting a really pretty little painting over the trash can, so when it is open, it's still pretty to look at. And then we obviously have one through to the entry as well, so there's some continuity in the space with the fabric. This is actually the pattern of my china that I got for our wedding. It's a Janori and the malachite color, and I obviously love green, so I sort of continued a little bit of green into the kitchen as well with the china. So every evening when I come home from work, I usually come right into the kitchen and I turn on a jazz playlist, Django Reinhardt or a Red Garland I'm like very into right now. And then I come over here and look out the window and I just feel like I'm in a Woody Allen movie. And you know, you can see the bridge and the East River. And then I usually do like a Blue Apron or something, and it just feels like I'm straight out of a movie.
Thanks for watching. For more Homeworthy content, be sure to like and subscribe.